Alright, we should be live now. So this must be a chat. Mm, mm. I don't know how all the other guys have this open, but I'll just keep this over here. I don't know. Mm, Let me just make sure that I am actually live. Okay, not completely live yet. Uh, okay, there we go. Yeah, perfect. Alright, so it looks like the broadcast is working. Uh, so what are we doing today? I was gonna continue building the gocord application that I was building last stream. So this is the front end, obviously. Let me also open up the back end as well. It's right here somewhere. There it is. All right. So obviously I did a lot of coding off camera as well. So why not? There's a lot to catch up on over here. Mm, Let me close this. No need to eat up all of my internet access as well. Okay. Yeah, so I built this load env function, which all it basically does is load the env file into the os.env so I can access it easily. I'll show it to you. So all I really do is take the path, which is the .env file path, open it up, and obviously make sure to close it. Create a new scanner, and then just parse the env file. And when we get the keys and the values, the environment variables, we just set them in the environment. And that's all. Yeah. We do some, I guess, skip the invalid lines. So if a line is completely empty, then we obviously don't need to parse it. If the line starts with a hash symbol, which basically means it's a comment, then we obviously don't need to parse it. We don't need to parse comments. And we make sure that there's only two possible like values on every line. One is the key and the other is the value. And yeah, then we just extract the key and value and then set that in the environment, and that is all. And I use this in a couple places. I use it in the database connection to actually connect to the database. I also use it in the JWT utilities over here to actually store the secret key, which before was just hard coded over here. It doesn't really matter because this is a like a test project, just a learning project. Obviously, when you deploy this to production, you want to like store all of these things in a separate environment variable or whatever. But yeah, this was a good practice. So what else did I build off camera? The main things I want to build right now are in this etypes package. Basically, the etypes package has a bunch of event types, and the way this app is supposed to work is we have a WebSocket connection between the client, which is the front end, and the server, which is this Go backend. And what we do is we just send a bunch of events from the client to the server and from the server to the client, right? So we have this event-based communication based on WebSockets, and this event type is just a type that is the event type, yeah. So I want to handle all of these events, and right now I haven't done all of them. So that's what we're gonna do now. If I open the web package in servers over here, you can see that most of the events I haven't even bothered to handle yet. So we need to implement all of this for the servers at least. For channels, I'm pretty sure, yeah. For channels, I've already handled all of the events. So typing start, typing stop, message, which fires when a message is sent. Channel history, which fires every time you open up a new channel. So you fire this event to get the channel history, which basically just returns the last 50 messages in the channel right here. So we ordered them by created that obviously to get the latest messages, and then we just return the latest 50 messages. We obviously don't want to return all of them because like in a large channel there could be hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of messages, just like Discord. So we need to make sure to only return 50. Uh, but enough talking. Let me just run this thing and just start developing it. So I'll use air, and as always, I forget to start the database. Docker container start gocord. I need to give it a minute. Databases always take a minute to start, so yeah, well wait. In the meantime, we can obviously start the front end as well. Npm run dev. I should probably make commits, but I'm too lazy for that, especially with personal projects. Like when it comes to personal projects, I just like to like do one big commit instead of like having a proper history, which I know is not good, but you know. And this should probably be in git ignore as well, right here. Maybe something else as well. It's the tmp folder. There's no need to have that in git. And yeah, that's all I think. Do we need the go.sum file in git? I feel like that's just auto-generated from the go mod, right? I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Anyway, the database should be running by now, so let's, yeah, there we go. Alright, this is the Electron application. It's broken, obviously, we don't need to worry about that. And okay, here we are. Refresh this, get the WebSocket, and there's my server. And there is my chat interface. And let me just open the console as well. So obviously when I change the channel, it fires the channel history event and gets the channel history, the last 50 messages sent in this channel. So I can obviously send another message as well. I don't know, hey, and you can see that when I start typing, and I don't know why I got this error over here, but when I start typing, it shows me that someone is typing. So this needs some more work, obviously, because if I'm the one typing, I don't want to know that I'm typing, right? If someone else is typing, that's when I want to see this message. So yeah, still needs a lot of work, but as a basic functionality, it's fine. And let me go back over there. Oh, and obviously, if you drop the connection or if you somehow disconnect from the app, then it gets removed from this list as well. And okay, so now I'm typing. If I just remove the input completely, then I'm no longer typing. So that's how that works. This error is coming from, let me see. Let me just do one thing beforehand. There we go. So let's fix that error. This hydration error is coming from, I believe it's coming from the message box component. Yeah, over here. So what's the error again? P cannot be a descendant of P. Okay. So to fix that, we just need to change this into, where is it? Okay, okay. And I guess we don't need this, and we can just change this to a div, and there we go. Format this, refresh, let it recompile, and awesome. So we fixed that. Now I want to continue handling those events. I also have this little drop down here which does nothing. It just logs the selected so option, I guess. I have only one server over here. I have a modal here that again does nothing. It just has a very basic form for creating a new server, and I haven't configured this yet. So we have a lot of work to do over here. We have a lot of work. Where do we start? I hope the stream is going okay. Alright. So I guess we can start with this. We want to be able to create new servers, and before even doing that, I want to have like some common form elements I can use to just to make this look a bit better. So if I just do RFC, this should obviously be a div, or it could just be a field set, just to like be more semantic, I guess. Doesn't really need classes right now. I'll have a label which will be a block element for the name, which will be in the props over here, and I guess we can have what else do we need over here? Label, which will be the label over here. Then we obviously need to have the input type text, the name, the ID will just be the name as well. We need a value, which can be value, and we need an on change event, which we can pass in over here. So the value and the on change, and then we just need to add a bunch of classes here. So I can just say px4 py2 rounded, bj gray 50, and border gray, let's say 200. Let's see what that looks like, and then let's create a props object over here. Name will be string, label will be string, value I guess can be, I don't know, anything I guess. Could be a number, could be something else. Actually no, never mind. Since this is a text input, the value will obviously be a string. I don't know what I was thinking there. The on change will be a function that takes the event and returns nothing. And this will just be, I believe, in what does this fire anyway? HTML put an element on change. I guess this is how it's done. Okay. And then the props. Okay, so that type is wrong. Input element. Oh, change event handler. Okay. Change event handler from React. HTML input element. There's a nasty fly in my room. Okay, what's the error now? Okay, event handler, HTML input elements. Okay. Shouldn't this just work then? I feel like this should just work now. I feel like there's something I'm missing here and I'm not sure what. Change. Oh, I messed up. This is not supposed to be a handler, this is supposed to be change event. There we go. Because the handler is the function, but this E attribute, this is the event, not the event handler. Can you go away, please? Okay. Okay, so that's all we need. And then I'll just render that over... Where did I create this option? In the side, yeah, okay, over here. So our servers are very simple. We just need to have very... Why is there a fly in my room? Okay. This is the worst distraction, by the way, you know? Like just having some big nasty insect right alongside you. We have a server icon, we have a server name, we have a description, and that's it. So I'm keeping this very simple, keeping this project very simple. I don't want to create the next Discord all by myself. That's just too much work. So what I'm just gonna do is not that, this. Render the text input element over here. There we go. The label will just be the server name. The name of the field can be name, value, and on change. So we need to create this. And to do that, you know what? Just give me a second. There we go. Problem temporarily solved. Okay, yeah, everything's working. So we need to create state over here. This will just be the server name and set server name. And obviously it's a string. So the value over here will be server name, and the on change will be, we get the event handler, and then we run the, what do we do? We run the server name handler, fuck off, and then we pass in event.target.value. There we go. That's all we need to do. Let me see what this looks like now. Come on, refresh. There we go. Okay, that's a lot better. We do need a placeholder field as well now that I think about it. So take a placeholder and add that over here, and placeholder equals placeholder. This can be optional, because why not? And then we just add that over here. I don't know, what's a good placeholder for server names? I don't know. Friends group? I don't know. Okay, so that's done. Yeah, that looks like a horrible server name. I don't know. Guys, what's a good server name? Yeah, we'll go with that. We'll go with that. Okay, so that's the server name. Now I need to have a similar element for the description as well. And for that, I can just create a text area input.tsx, which can be the same thing as this. We'll rename this as well, text area input. There we go. And we'll create a text area instead of an input, and we'll give it name. Okay, the value, the placeholder, and the on change, and obviously the classes as well. Let me just copy those. And I think that's all we need to do. Change one handler, HTML text area element. Okay, text area element. There we go. Now that should be fine. There we go. Awesome. So now let's change that as well. We'll create a text area element over here. It will have a bunch of properties. This is going to be the description. This will be desk. The value will be, and I guess I need to create state again. Server desk and set server description. There we go. Okay. And then the on change will be set server description to e.target.value, and that is all. Now we can remove this as well and just see what we have now. Refresh, and it's a bit better, but still need to improve this form a bit. Okay, so it's missing a placeholder, that's for sure. Describe your group here, thanks. And I want both of these to have a bit more margin vertically. And by 2, let's do that. And I guess we can also do full width, because why not? Same thing over here. Yeah, I'm kind of just experimenting with the styles over here a bit and just see what this looks like. Yeah, that's a lot better now. I will want to increase the margin here, so 2 is clearly not enough. Let's go with 6. How's that? Same thing over here. Okay, and that's a lot better. I also want to have some margin below the actual label, so let's say MB2 over here and here as well. And let's see. Yeah, that's a lot better. Awesome. Okay, so we have all of this. Now I also want to fix this server icon field. This is gonna be a bit difficult because we also want to display some sort of an image preview, and I completely forgot how they do that in TypeScript. We basically like take the image that the user uploads and we turn it into this blob and grab the data URL and then just render that as the image, and so on and so forth. I'll just ask GPT to do it for me. So I guess what I should do now is create an image input component, and this will just be like another field set, and I guess I can have the same properties as well. MY6, that's all right. Okay, a label which will be for the field. The label comes over here. We want to have a label over here and a name. Then we need an input type file, which, wait, oh, one more thing. Because we can't really like customize these file input elements very much, what we want to do is customize the label instead and just hide this input element. So let me see how I'm going to do that as well. But first let's just render this. Okay, and I think that's all we need for now. Let's create the props object as well. The label will be a string. The name will also be a string. Okay, perfect. Now let's render this over here. And I should obviously move this to its own like component as well, but image input, still got a fly in my room. Image input, there we go. And now it's going to take the server icon as the label, and the name of this will be icon, the name of the field. Awesome. Okay, refresh this and see what it looks like. Okay, and obviously you can select a thumbnail or something over here with this. Now we can actually ask the GPT to do this for us. So what am I going to ask? What do I need over here? upload component. When the user uploads an image, I want to show a preview of it. Give me the code to do that. So what we basically need to do is use the onChange event handler, grab the file that the user uploads, turn it into this blob and read it, and then just get the data URL of that, and then use that as the source for the image element. So yeah, there's a couple of things to do there. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna get the bot to do it for me. Okay, so how do we do this? Alright. Everything fine up here? Okay, yeah. Everything seems good. Okay. So I need to have the image and the preview. Okay. So let's build this. In the image input element, I'm going to have the image and the set image, which will be a state. I'm also going to have the const preview and set preview. And I think this is supposed to be a string. Yeah, this will be the URL of the image that I was talking about. So string, or it could be null. There we go. Whereas the image over here is going to be either a file object or null. And for now it's just going to be null here as well, probably. Yeah, awesome. Now the preview is probably going to be local to this component, right? But when it comes to the image, we actually want that to be we want that to come from the parent component. So I will have to change that, but first let's just get this up and running. Okay, now we need to actually create the event handler for the onChange event. So I have an E, which will probably be a change event for HTML input, I believe. And I guess we need to import this. There we go. Then we grab the file, which is going to be in e.target.files 0. I guess this can be undefined. Yeah, as I thought. That's not gonna help. That is okay, perfect. And if we have a file, we set that to the file, we read it, then okay, got it. Okay, super simple stuff. See, create the file, and then why is that giving me an error? Huh? Did I miss something? I don't think so. Oh, a dot. Okay, my bad. Alright, so we have this. The image is going to be the file, and this is going to be a file object, obviously. And then the next thing we need to do is create a reader, I guess, which will be what, file reader, I think. Yeah, file reader. Reader on load end. When it finishes loading the file, we want to set the preview to reader.result as string. So cast it as a string, and then we actually read this, and we read it as a data URL. See, so we need to create a data URL of all of this, and then we read the file, I guess, and that's all we need to do, right? Cool. So we have all of this. Now let's actually create an image element. We'll give it a size of, let's say, 24. We'll make it rounded, and we'll give it a background of 200, just so if there's no image there, at least we can actually see this, right? Then I'll just render the preview over here as string. There we go. Now format it, and let's see what this looks like. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there we go. So this is what we're going to have. Now if I can just find a image, I uploaded it and okay, that didn't do anything. Oh, I forgot. I have to actually have the onChange event over here. So we need to actually call this function, obviously. Otherwise nothing's going to happen, right? Okay, compile this again. Now let's choose an image file and there we go. So we do see a preview over here now. Now what we need to do is to make this whole element look a bit more pretty, I guess. And first of all, water break. Uh, hmm. So the way to do this is to actually customize the label element, not the input element. We're actually just going to hide this. I believe I can make it display none hidden. And if I can't, then we have a problem. But we'll just change this to hidden, and there we go. See, so even if I just click on the label, we can still like see it. So what we're going to do is keep this actual input element completely hidden, and we're going to style the label. So I'll give it a, let's say, a couple of classes. Let's say flex call space y2, and inside here I'll have a paragraph tag which will actually render the label. And then I guess we can have, what's a good design for a file input element? I guess we could have something like, I don't know. Actually, you know what? We shouldn't even have a label over here. We should have it over here. What we should do is div size 24 rounded full vj grade 200, render the image inside over here, and move this up here. We'll say flex call, and if there is no image, then we will render the following, and we will render the, and I guess instead of a div this should be a label, HTML4 the name. We don't need all of this anymore. I can have a span element over here that will actually render the label, and this can have a div which will be, let's see, justify end, and this can have a size of 12, let's say, and obviously rounded bottom full. I have no idea what I'm trying to do here. DJ white, and let's just see what this looks like. We'll also give it flex and center the content inside it completely, and let's just see what the hell I created here. Okay, I broke everything. Okay. So what am I going to do now? What I am going to do is we're going to create the, what conditional am I adding here? If the image exists, then I want to render the image preview. Otherwise, I want to render this div over here. There we go. I can remove this one now, and okay, I messed it up. Oh, there we go. And I think that's all. Yeah, remove this. There we go. Now let's see what I have over here. Okay, still not enough. What am I missing? The height should be 12, the width should be 4. There we go. Yeah. Okay. Still not what I wanted to have. we should probably change the background here to, let's say, gray 300 and see what that looks like. Okay. I should probably also increase the size of this whole thing to, let's say, 36. And yeah. Then let's see what happens. Okay. No, I fucked up. That's still broken. Where am I? So first of all, overflow should be hidden. Just why not, right? And what's the half of 36? I believe 18, right? So 18 over here. There we go. Yeah, that looks a lot better. And now what would make this even better would be if I had an upload icon over here. So I believe I have one in blue side, and if I don't, then I should probably get one as well. But let's create a flex column here, and let's render the upload icon. There we go. So we do have that. The size can just be 24. I don't want it to be too large. Let's see. Yeah, that looks kind of better. I do want the width of this whole thing to be a bit bigger, so yeah, it does work. Let me just test it, and there we go. See, and that's not fine. Yeah, okay, so the image should just take up the whole width and height of the container, right? There we go, and upload it again. There we go. So we have it. Perfect. Yeah, that's all we need, I think. So we can obviously keep improving this, but for now I think this is good enough. Now this whole form, I am going to move the whole thing out of here and into a component, and we'll call it the create server form, I guess. Like this. Sweet. Okay, let's also add the missing imports, all of these. Yeah, that's all we need. Let's grab the state as well. There we go. Import this. Set modal open. Okay, so we need the modal over here as well. So the next question is whether we want to have the modal in this server sidebar component or in the create server component. So that's what we need to think about. Where does this modal actually belong? Let's see. What we can do actually is move the whole thing away, or what can we do over here? I mean, both approaches are fine, to be honest, but what's the best one? But one thing's for sure, this is going to have, this component is going to have plenty of other modals as well. So in order to not interrupt all of that, we should just create it in here. And just to keep things consistent, I will change the name of this whole component to modal form, just so it's clear, it's super clear that we serve this form to a modal, just so that's clear. Now we can actually have that open and set open state, and yeah, open and set open. There we go. This will obviously be a boolean, and we'll put all of this inside of a modal as such. We'll say set open equals false over here, and then the open state will just be open and set open. That's all we need. Okay. So this should actually just be true by default, because of the if we're rendering this component the first time we're rendering it, it should just open up the modal by default. So create server modal form. And let's see, we can say modal open and we render this component. There we go. So this modal open isn't exactly a modal open, it's just the boolean to check whether we should open up the server, the create server form or not. So yeah, and now we actually have everything perfect. Okay, I do want to increase the width of this whole thing, so let's give it a min width of, let's say, 2xl. Let's try that and see what it looks like. That's a lot better, to be honest. Okay, everything is fine over here, perfect. Now we actually need to handle all of these things, so let's create actually, before we do any of that, let's actually handle the event in here. And what's it called? Server create. Okay, so in our Go backend over here, let's create the server create event handler. Handle server create, and right now I just want to let's get the event that will be sent by the client, by the front end, and then let's also get the connection, the client object, WebSocket client. There we go. So the first thing I want to do is just log all of the data that we get from the event and just see what it looks like and see what we can do with it. All right, so I'm just gonna do fmt.println. There we go. That's all we're gonna do. We don't even need to reply anything for now. Okay, and over here let's call this handle server create with ev and c as the arguments. Awesome. Now when the server create events is fired, it will run this handler function. So now we can actually go over to the server create. Okay, over here. So what we can do is const handle submit. This will be a function. It'll take, I guess, an event, which I guess is a form event or submit event. Yeah, I think it's a submit event. Okay. And create server. Okay, over here. So the first thing we're going to do is call the handle submit function over here. That didn't work. And mouse event, HTML button element. Okay, let's remove this. Let's just call it a mouse event of an HTML button element. And I guess we need to have mouse event here as well. No, mouse event is not generic. I guess this is coming from the react.mouse event. There we go. Okay, still not working. Oh, there's even more types over here. Elements and mouse event. This is insane, by the way, how many types there are in TypeScript. Still not correct. Am I just missing another? Yeah, I think I'm just missing another one of those. What am I missing over here? This is a mouse event object. It has an HTML button element and a mouse event, then an element and a mouse event, and then that mouse event in and of itself has another element and mouse event. This is insane. The amount of chains that you have over here. This is absolutely insane. Wait, still not fine? Okay, you know what? This just sucks. I feel like I added all of these for nothing. You know what? I'm gonna just ask ChatGPT to fix this for me. Because the error is just that I don't know what the exact type is over here. And so I don't know what type annotation to add to this event. So let's get the appropriate type from over here, and then so I guess we don't need this then. Yeah, there we go. Well, that was simple. Okay, so we have this. Perfect. Now we can actually grab all of the data, and before we do that, let's also grab the image. This should come from value, which will be the image file, and then an on change event handler. The value will just be a file, or I guess it could be empty as well. And then we can fire the on change event over here, which will be, let's see, on change, return nothing obviously, but it'll take the file object. Okay. File, there we go. We don't need the set image anymore over here. The value will be the image, and that's all we need. Perfect. So over here we can actually now have a bunch of state. We can say const server icon, and set server icon will be use state. This will be either a file or null, and for now it will be null by default. So pass in the value, which will be the server icon, and then the on change will be, it will take a file and then it will set the file to the server icon as such. This is probably, yeah, so it can't differentiate between null and undefined, so I guess I'll just call this undefined for now, because it doesn't really matter. Both of them are just empty types. Okay, so now we have all of this. Now we can create a form over here. First of all, let me just console.log everything and see what we get, right? So server name, server description. Okay, let's console.log this. And where? Okay, there we go. I'll upload an image. I'll create some sort of a group name and some description here. Create the server, and okay. So we need to prevent the default event handler. e.prevent default. Let's do that. But it does get printed. I did see it getting printed, so there we go. Upload something, and there we go. Okay, so this is the file object, which is the server icon, and this is the description. This is the server name, this is the description. So we are getting everything we need. Perfect. Now we actually need to send this to the server. Now we communicate with the server through JSON, and I believe in order to send files through JSON you need to encode it in base64, because JSON doesn't support bytes, right? It supports strings. So let me double check. It's been a while since I did this, but I'm pretty sure sending files through JSON base64, pretty sure that's how you do it. The alternative is to just send the raw bytes in a separate event or a separate message, but obviously that's just extra work and we don't want to do extra work. So using, what am I saying? Using base64 is obviously the easiest way to do this, but clearly it is much slower. So I guess it's fine either way, but I kind of don't want to do it just to have fast performance. I kind of just want to go with bytes. If we do build bytes, if we do this with raw bytes, how exactly would we build this architecture? So we would have a payload over here, okay, and we could either just send 2 messages or we could send just one, and but 2 messages would be extra complexity as well. That's just kind of a pain to decide between. You know what? Who cares? This is a practice project. There's no need to add so much complexity to it. We're just gonna use base64, and we can figure out the byte stuff later. We can obviously build. We can obviously accept bytes as well, but the problem there is that we're gonna have to create 2 separate events for this and just accept different kinds of data, not just JSON, and that would just need me to change the architecture of this whole backend so much. So we're not even gonna do that. We're gonna use base64. How do you base64 encode something in TypeScript again? Let's see. We have all of this. We need to, I guess we need to get the WebSocket connection. So const web use WebSocket, and this is a custom hook I built. I'm not sure if I built this in the last stream or just off camera, but this is a custom hook that, and a context, which just creates one single global WebSocket object, and then I can just subscribe to different events, unsubscribe from those events, and just like send messages to the clients and everything. And yeah, so how are we going to do this? I don't know why I keep checking OBS again and again. Give me a second. Yeah, all right. Okay, so yeah, let me just show you what this context does real quick. We basically have a type message handler. This is a function that actually is called whenever we receive a message from the server, and this message handler will receive the payload from the server event, and just do whatever it wants with it, right? And we have a context type over here. This is what's actually going to be available to us. So we can send events to the server, which will be of type WS event, which has a type, payload, and an optional message. I don't know why I created this message field. I have it in the, where is it, in the backend as well. If I show you the WS event, there we go. Yeah, I also have a message field over here as well, but I rarely use this, honestly. The only things I really use are the event type and the payload. So this message field is pretty much dead and unused. I don't know why I even have it, but yeah. So we have the send function, then we have the subscribe and the unsubscribe functions. And what these do is, this is entirely client side, by the way, this has nothing to do with the server. But what they basically do is they take the type, they take a handler, and the handlers that you pass into this subscribe function, they will be called whenever we receive a server event of that type. So let me just show you an example of this. Close all of this. I'll just show you an example. We're using the use WebSocket hook over here. I'll extract the send function, and once we get the data, we want to send a WS event, a WebSocket event object. The type will be server create. The payload will be, let's say, name will be the server name. Description will be the server description, and icon will be the server icon. So yeah, that's what we need to do. And what this is going to do is that it's actually going to send the event to the server, and then the server will obviously do whatever it wants with it. It will create the server. But before we can do that, we want to convert this server icon, which is of type file, into a base64 encoded string. So let me see how we do that in TypeScript again. Okay. Wait, read as data URL? Isn't that what we already do? But then why do I have a file object over here? You know what, let's just send this. Let's just send this and see what we get. Okay, this is going to happen. Okay. And in here, we're just going to print everything we get, whatever it is. So let's just send this event. I'll upload an icon, and this is a thumbnail from from the latest video I built actually, so go watch that as well. But anyway, we'll have a server name, we'll have a description, we send the event, and okay, so the WebSocket crashed. Why did the WebSocket crash? That's weird. Do I not have the socket open? Socket is connected, okay. And why did it crash? There we go. Okay, and the event should have fired now. So if I go back over here, yeah, there it is. So here's the description, here's the server name, and the icon is a map object, an empty map object. So clearly we did not get the icon as expected. Okay. So we do need to convert this. So this is not being converted in TypeScript. Let's convert this to base64 and then send that. What's the URL of this? Oh, okay. So I guess the problem here is that we're using a file object instead of just base64. Let me go back over here. Let me go to the image input, and this is going to be a string instead of a file. There we go. Okay. All right. And this is going to be the, where is it? Okay, over here. reader.result as string. That's what we're going to call the onChange event on reader.result, which can be an array buffer or a string or null. We're going to cast that as a string. I'm going to put this up here. That's all we need to do. The value over here can just be a string again. There we go, and that's all we need to do. Perfect. So now if I do this again, is the socket connected? Yes, it is. There we go. Why did I console.log this? WebSocket read limit exceeded. Okay, so this is going to be another problem. How much of a read limit do I even need for this? This is going to be a bit of a problem because for most messages, a couple of KBs is fine. I believe for my uses, I only have, I think, yeah, I only support 1 KB buffer sizes, so 1024 bytes. I wonder if what I'm doing is even the correct approach, you know? Like, is this the best way to upload files, or should I have something else? Oh, the read limit, okay. So the buffer size and the read limit is, they're two different things, I guess. Where do I set this? I set it over here. Okay, 4 KB. That's obviously not enough. Let me see. Where is the? How much is the size of this again? Can I see the size? 88 KB. Okay. Yeah. Let's try raising this to 10 MB. Let's say 1024. That's going to be 1 MB, and then let's multiply that by 10. That's going to be 10 MB. Okay. And do I have a write limit as well? No, I don't. Okay. I guess that's all we need. Let's refresh the page, reconnect the WebSocket, and then okay. And now, oh yeah, there we go. So this time it works. Perfect. So we received this really long base64 encoded string, and this is the file information, obviously. So here is the map. This is the description of the server. This is the icon, which is going to be obviously a really long string of base64, and at the end, I guess, is the name of the server. So if this works, now what we need to do is extract all of this, and we can do that with, we have the text, we have the name, server name, and the name OK, which we can get from ev.payload name. That's what I called it, right? If I go back over there, yeah, we have the name, we have the description, we have the icon. Okay. And the description, and then the icon as well. It's going to be icon, it's going to be icon OK. And here I'm just using the comma OK idiom in Go. And the reason I'm declaring all of these together is so I can do this. If name is not okay, or description is not okay, or icon is not okay, then we're going to return an error. And the way we can do that is I have a helper function on the client over here, and what this does is it just creates a reply and it sends that to the front end. So it calls this reply function, which will just convert the reply into a JSON object, JSON bytes. Then it will just send it to the send channel, which will then send it to the client. So this is just a helper function here. And what does it take? It takes an event type. I'll just return the same event type that I got. The message will just be malformed request, let's say. And then we return, because we obviously don't want to continue executing the function if we don't even have the appropriate data, right? So we return over here. Now we have all of these fields. Now what are we supposed to do with them? We're supposed to, let's see, we want to create a server. So first things first, we want to, let's just do this, models.server, and this is going to have a name which comes from name, a description which is the description over here, and oh, these are any, okay. I mean, these are going to be strings, so I can just directly cast them. Probably not the best practice to do this directly like this. We should probably just first we should probably check this in a conditional and handle any error cases, but for now I just want to get this done. So yeah, don't do this. This is bad practice. Obviously check every type assertion you make, like if name.string, something like this, if n okay, and then if it's okay, then you use the n value, which is the string. Do it like that, not like this. This is bad practice. But for now I just want to get this done. So what else do we have over here? We have the icon URL and we have the owner. Now the owner is going to be the person who is creating this. So let me grab the user object. We're going to do gorm.g models.user, pass in the database. Let me get the database as well. There we go. This is the database.connect function which I showed you earlier. It just returns the database instance, and then we can pass that into Gorm and then do something with it. So select all the columns from the users table where the ID of the user will be, and we have the user object inside the connection, and we can just say user over here. Actually, we don't even need to get it from the database. We already have a pointer to that user right here, c.user. There we go. We can just do it like that. Okay, now we need to have members channels. We don't need that. Owner ID, this will just be filled automatically with Gorm. Base, we don't need to worry about that. Icon URL, we need this. So in order to get this, I'm just gonna have a temporary variable over here, but we do need to actually parse the base64 and then configure this. So before all of that, let me just say object and error equals gorm.g models.server, the database. I guess we still need the database, so database.connect .create, we'll have the context, and then we'll pass in the server over here, and this will return an error. We handle that as well. We'll just print it, error creating server, creating new server, print it over here, return obviously. And then what we're going to do next is somehow parse this icon, which is a string, into an icon URL. Before we can do that, let me just see, how do you parse a base64 string in Go? What we want to do is parse this, convert it into bytes, and then we can save those bytes into a file on disk. So let's do that. And then once we have the file saved, then we can just grab the path to that file and save that as the icon URL. And that's good enough for local storage on your machine, but obviously in production you want to use some sort of maybe an S3 bucket on some cloud service or something. You want to use that. So yeah, it just depends on how you're basically, or where you're saving this, but for now I'm just going to store this on my machine. So we get the base64 package, we use std encoding, decode string, and this will give us the output. Okay, let's do this. Okay, that's the wrong project. There we go. So grab the base64 std encoding decode. This will take, okay, decode string. Okay, and this will take a string and will return the bytes. Okay, we'll send the icon here. We'll add a type assertion. Again, this is not the best practice. You should use the comma OK idiom, not this. But yeah, I believe this will return an error and also bytes. So I'll just call this icon bytes. Make sure to handle the error. Log.println error parsing icon. Print the error, return. Then we have the icon bytes. Now we can actually save this to a file. So how do we actually save this? I guess we should have a media folder. So we're going to use the os create dir or make dir. Okay, there we go. Is there a way to do this without I don't want to actually cause an error here. Go create directory if doesn't exist. Or actually, I believe we can actually, if, don't we have an exist? Okay, we do. Okay. Dir fs dir entry read dir. Okay. Because what I don't want to do is like create a directory and then it sends me an error and that error says that their directory already exists. I don't want something like that. Okay, so yeah, I guess we can just do mkdir all then. Okay, and it will just be a media directory and then os.mode perm. By the way, I still need to learn what these different file modes are and what they do. It's on my list, I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. But yeah, so this will return an error if error is not equal to nil. Log.println error creating media folder error and return. There we go. There's no need to redeclare this. Okay, and then okay. By the way, all of these file handling stuff we should move to a different package and we should use that. We should also probably create an interface for saving files so that we can create different kinds of like storage systems. So basically we can have one storage system that's going to store files on our local machine, another that's going to store it on some Amazon S3 bucket or something, and we can just keep adding them. Maybe a storage system that stores files on Google Drive or something like that, right? So we want to have a common interface for all of these things. That's something I will build in the near future, but for now let's just get this done. Let's just build this basic functionality. So now we know that this exists. Perfect. We have the media folder. Now we can actually create a file inside the media folder plus the file name. Okay, The file name can just be the, I guess, the server name as server name plus icon dot, I guess, JPEG. Actually, I think we need to extract the extension from over here. Yeah, so like data PNG or something, right? Okay. So we need to do that as well, I guess. So to get that, data image slash PNG. Okay. I don't even want to do this on my own. Let's just ask GPT to extract it for us. There we go. Remove all of this. Extract the file extension from the base 64 string for me. There we go. So all we need to do is split the string at this semicolon. Then all we'll have is this part. Then we just remove the data, remove the image, I guess, as well, and then we just grab the PNG. There we go. To be honest, let's just do it ourselves. I don't even need to look at GPT. Okay. We'll have another function here. Extract extension. We'll just give it a string. There we go. And we'll return a string which will be the file extension. So there we go, and extract extension from the icon dot string, and then we'll render that over here as well. And then over here we can do fmt sprintf /s, and like we can just add the file name over here. Then this will return an error. Alright, no, this will return a file and an error. Can I just write directly to a file? Creating it if necessary. Okay, so this is what we need. We can just have it write the file for us directly. Okay, the content will just be the icon bytes, I guess, and the perm, I believe, can just be os.move perm, I think. And this will just return an error. So we grab that, we handle that over here. It's not equal to nil, log.println, error writing file, log that, return. And yeah, I think that should be it. And if all of this works, fix this. If all of this works, then the icon URL will just be the file path. So let's grab this whole portion and just call this fpath. Fpath will just be the media folder plus the file name, and then we save that over here, and there we go. This is all we need. So now we just need to extract the extension. So to do that, what we can do is we have this string. We can separate the whole thing, split it, strings dot, what was that? Strings dot split the string, add this colon character, and select the first element, and that will be the I guess the metadata of the base 64 string. Why did I call it a const? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mixed up TypeScript and Go over there, but yeah, okay. So we can remove the MIME type. We can get the MIME type by just removing, I believe this is what you call a MIME type, but I'm not sure. We can replace the data portion as such. from the string. There we go. We just need to replace it once, I guess, right? Why is this giving me an error? String, 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 int? What am I missing? Old with, oh, okay. There we go. We just want to replace this with basically nothing. And then we can do a switch mime type, I guess. And case. For now, let's just have an image slash PNG. If this, then the file extension will just be PNG. And the default case can just be return nothing. Okay. Okay, there we go. And over here, replace this with metadata. That's all we need to do. And now it should be fine. So let's see what happens. This will either work or it will just return a complete error. And yeah. Okay. Alright, this looks fine to me, so let's run this. And let's see what we get. Refresh this so we can reconnect the WebSocket. Add the thumbnail, add this whole thing. Okay, event sent and error parsing icon. Illegal base 64. Okay. Go over here. We got an error over here. Why did we get the error? The base 64 shouldn't be like that. To me, goes like this. Oh, so we need to remove this header. Got it. Okay. I guess we'll just use this function then. The data URL, okay. Decode base 64 string. This will return an error or the bytes. We're handling all of that already. And yeah, okay. So now let's run this. Let's refresh again. Okay, watching media. Let's see. Okay, there's a media folder, and it did create. Oh, there we go. So this does work. Perfect. Yeah, and no errors. So I guess this works. What it did was it basically created the media folder which didn't exist before, and then it saved the icon over here. The name of the file is just the server name, then the icon, and then the extension, just like we set over here. So it did save the file perfectly. I still have a nasty fly in my room. It saved the file, and it saved all of the other stuff as well. Go away. Saved all of the other stuff. Okay, so let me just go over to the database and make sure that this got saved as well, because this is awesome. So what we're going to do is docker execute /it the gocord container, and we're going to run bin bash. Let's go. And then we're going to enter the Postgres shell, cd into gocord, select everything from, what table is this again? This is servers. Okay, and there we go. We have the server name, we have the description, and we have the file path for the icon URL as well. And the owner ID, which is just the user Hassan, which is me. And yeah, there we go. So everything works. So server got created, the icon, the files got saved. Perfect. Whew. So that functionality is built. Took me a whole more than an hour to build that. Yeah, I think I'm gonna end the stream there, and we can pick this up later. I think this is good enough for now. I will probably do some more off-camera work on this because I've got some free time, so why not, right? But yeah, I think this is enough for now. Yeah, good stream, good coding, good work. Yeah, and if anybody's watching, bye bye.